Welcome back, everyone, to another viewer submission deck profile. I'm having a lot of fun with these, so thank you everyone who's submitted viewer requests. I don't think I'll be able to get to all of them, but I am having fun visiting, especially a lot of retro characters. I didn't know that the retro love was so strong, but thank you guys. I really love retro content, and just diving into all these old cards is so fun. Today's viewer submission is from Owen Brew 9609. Thank you, Owen. And it's actually for a character that I have dabbled with a little bit in the past, and that's Victor. Victor is from Darkstalkers. He is a Frankenstein's monster type of character. He's a 6 hand size, 28 health character with Chaos, Fire, and Order. I've built him on the Chaos symbol, as was the original deck I had built. And he's kind of interesting. So he's got Enhance, your attack gets Stun 2, only playable if your attack's printed difficulty is greater than the printed difficulty of the preceding attack in your card pool. So he's kind of tricky because he wants you to play your attacks out of order. Normally you start with your... Just realized it's a little high. Normally you want to start with your attacks that have the higher difficulty and then scale them down so that with progressive difficulty, your difficulty doesn't spike up. Victor wants you to play a little bit out of order, and there's a lot of attacks that really work with this. We also have Enhance, your attack gets +1 damage for each foundation your rival has committed this Enhance step. This means not only to your committing abilities, such as Stun, but also if they have commit abilities on their enhances for their foundations, like Moment of Normalcy. Cards that commit themselves, you can gain damage because of all of that. So it is kind of a waiting game and seeing, how long you can wait and what your rival will and won't do in the face of this potentially huge damage boost. And that damage will scale down because as your rival has fewer foundations to commit, you'll have less damage to build up. But there's a lot of really interesting things we can do here, and it all starts with one of my favorite retro cards that I don't think they'll ever reprint, Reduction. Reduction is a 3 difficulty, 3 control attack with a 1 speed mid, 1 damage, with a 1 mid block. It has Breaker 2 and Ranged. Breaker 2 is a responsibility that says after you block with this card, your rival's next check gets -2. And that will end their combat phase, so very powerful defensive ability. As a static, it says while this card is in your card pool, your other attacks get +2 speed and +2 damage, and your rival is considered to be at Desperation. Now that last part just means that for any abilities that require your rival to be in Desperation, which is if their printed health, or if their current health is less than half of their printed health, then you could use those abilities. And if your rival had any Desperation abilities, they could technically use those too. So in Retro, that is a thing you will need to worry about. But we also have Enhance. If this attack is not blocked, add the top card of your deck to your Momentum. So this is your perfect opener with Victor. And he says, do you want to block 1 damage? If not, I get a free Momentum. But all of my attacks are going to get +2 speed and +2 damage, and any attack I play after Reduction, barring 1, is going to get Stun 2. So to give any of your attacks 2 speed, 2 damage, and Stun 2 is monumental. Another attack that works really well is Walk the Dog. An 8 difficulty, printed, which is important. Printed 8 difficulty, move, 3 control, 6 low for 6, 2 low block, powerful 3, ranged, stun 1, and weapon. Stun 1, as with the stun 2 that Victor can give it, forces your rival to commit foundation. Stun 1, they commit 1 foundation. Stun 2, they commit 2. Powerful 3 allows you to spend momentum, and for each momentum you spend to pay the cost of your powerful 3, you get 3 damage. As a static, this attack gets -1 difficulty for each committed foundation in your rival stage, maximum of a -4 difficulty. So this can become a 4 difficulty move in your hand. But for Victor, it's still a printed 8 difficulty move. So even if you play it after a 5 difficulty move, if this meets its requirement to become a 4 difficulty move, it can still get the stun 2 no matter what. So this can be played after any attack that you have in the deck and still gain stun 2. And then we have Enhance, draw 1 card for each copy of Walk the Dog in your card pool. So, bit of draw, pretty cool. And if you can just stagger these, it's really cool. Because, yeah, he focuses on printed difficulty. So even if Walk the Dog's a 4 diff, it's still a printed difficulty 8 for Victor's requirements. We've got Attack Titan's Haymaker, a 5/3, 4 mid for 5, 2 high block, Shift, Stun 2, Punch, and Titan. Shift means if we play this card as an attack during our turn, at the end of the turn, excuse me, provided it wasn't sealed, we can build it face up into our stage as a foundation. We can transform it, and it transforms into Aaron's Determination, a unique foundation. The attack itself says Blitz. This attack cannot be blocked by cards with a printed difficulty of 2 or less. So that is a very strong ability, especially if you have reduction into Attack Titan's Haymaker. This becomes a 6 mid 7, and with Victor, it can gain stun 2 on top of its stun 2, so a 6 mid 7 stun 4 effectively. That's gonna really tighten the grip on your rival's stage and open up the place for a Walk the Dog. And then Aaron's Determination says Enhance mill 1, your attack gets +1 damage. If you have 10 or less health, it gets +2 damage instead. So that's a little bit of a way to... Let me just turn this down a little bit. It sounds a touch loud. So that's a way to gain a little bit more damage, even if you have the decreasing damage from Victor. But imagine, if you play this after reduction, it's a 6 mid 7, stun 4, and then Victor can give it at least 4 damage. So a 6 mid 11 that can only be blocked by high difficulty cards. Pretty nice. Our other high difficulty move is Tyrant Rave. This is a newer one, a newer edition. I didn't have this when I built my original Victor because Guilty Gear hadn't come out yet. But it's a 7/3, 5 mid for 5, 1 low block with Punch. As a response, after you check an attack to play this card, add the checked attack to your momentum. Bit of momentum gen's kind of fun. But Blitz, this attack gets +2 speed and +2 damage for each other attack you have played this turn. So imagine you play a reduction, gives all your attacks 2/2. You play an Attack Titan's Haymaker, stun 4, and chuck 11 damage at your rival. And then you play a Tyrant Rave. It gets 2/2 from reduction, making it a 7/7. Then it gets 4/4 from itself, so it's an 11/11. And stun 2 if your rival still has foundations up, and if they do have 2 foundations to stun, that's an 11 mid 13. Yes, you're playing it on a 9, but we are playing some cards that allow us to boost our checks, so that's pretty good. But heavy kill card. To help us search our attacks, we have Unrelenting Advance, a 4/3, 2 mid for 5, 2 high block, powerful 2, Fury, and Titan. As a static, it cannot leave our card pool during the combat phase, so it cannot be Cape of No Return, it cannot be Genkai's Guidanced. It's here to be dealt with. And as a response, after this attack is blocked, mill cards from your deck until you mill an attack. Add the milled attack to your hand. So we start with a reduction, we play an Unrelenting Advance, it's a 4 mid 7 with stun 2 and powerful 2, and then if our rival blocks it, we could pick up another attack. Likely an Attack Titan's Haymaker, maybe a Walk the Dog if we're lucky, because Walk the Dog with reduction is 8 low 8 base. So yeah, we can set up tons of damage with this card. And to add to our 3 diffs attacks, we have our 4 diffs attacks, because I only wanted the 1/3 diff for reduction. Somnambulist Subdual, a 4/3, 3 high for 2, 1 mid block, with ranged and stun 2. So even if this is our starter, because we didn't have a reduction, we stun 2, this is a 3 high for 4. Not bad, but if our rival does not try to block this attack, we get to freeze 2 of their foundations. So if they don't waste a block on this, we just say, hey, those 2 foundations of yours, those are just going to not ready during your next turn. And that's less foundations you'll have to work with come back round to my next turn. So that and reduction both kind of offer that damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't block this, you're going to take damage and I'm going to get a bonus. But if you do block it, you're likely going to have less ways to block my bigger and stronger attacks that I'm going to be getting to stun more of your stuff with and add even more damage to. So that's our attack lineup. We want to start with either a reduction or a somnambulous subdual and really pressure our rival early and then lead up to like a walk the dog, a Titan's Haymaker, or a Tyrant Rave, and really just slap as much damage on those as possible. Onto our non-attack cards. Our assets, we have Military Airship, a 3/5, 2 high block with Unique. Enhance, commit, and freeze this card. Add 1 card from your card pool to your hand. This could be really good to play reduction as a block, so we break her 2. And then if our rival does play through it and play another attack, we can commit Military Airship and pick up the reduction so that we have it for our next turn. And that's pretty good. Or we could play reduction. Let's say our rival doesn't block it, we get a momentum. We play an attack. We use all of our enhances to give victors stun 2. And then we commit Military Airship, pick up reduction, play reduction again. If our rival doesn't block it, we get another momentum. Then we play another 4 diff attack. So let's say we have reduction and 2 4 diffs. Because if we have 4 diff and then a 4 diff, we don't get the victor stun. But if we play reduction, 4 diff, then pick up the reduction to play it again, and then play another 4 diff, we do get the victor bonus, and it basically gets us another attack. Or we could loop cards like Unrelenting Advance or Somnambulous Subdual to try to get more out of those cards. Cape of No Return, it's just good defense. It's a 3/4, 3 high block, unique. Enhance, remove this attack from the game. We're just going to delete one of our rival's attacks no matter what. We are kind of to say 628 is frail sounds bad, but given how a lot of our 6-handers now are like 30 plus health, it is less than modern. So being able to just auto-delete one attack is pretty good. We've got Battle Arena. This is a 2/5, 2 mid-block terrain, which means only 1 terrain can be in play at any given time, no matter who's controlling it. If you have Battle Arena out and your rival plays a terrain, your Battle Arena goes away. As a static, while this card is in your stage, at the start of the end phase, players who dealt damage this turn may add the top card of their deck to their momentum. So we could get a bit more momentum for our powerfuls on Relenting Advance and Walk the Dog. But we also have Response Commit. After you make a check to play an attack, that check gets +2. That really helps when we're trying to play higher difficulty moves after lower difficulty moves, so we can get +2 to the check to play a Tyrant Rave when we're checking it on a 9 or a 10, which is really useful. And then we have Claw of Malephase. This is an old one from the World of Indine's decks. It's a 3/5, 2 mid-block with unique. Form Commit, add 1 mid-attack from your discard pile to your card pool. So if we did not draw reduction, and we have to start with something like Unrelenting Advance or Somnambulous Subdual, we can Form Commit this to put the reduction into our card pool at the start of the turn, and then play our 4 diff, and we're off to the races. So that's pretty neat. So even if we didn't draw the reduction, as long as we have 1 in our discard pile, Claw of Malephase means our start with a 3 diff loop is always active. And then we have Response once per enhanced step after one of your foundations is destroyed. This attack is +2 or -2 damage. We don't really have a lot to destroy our stuff with, but if we do need to, or if our rival ruins us or something, we can give +2 or -2 damage. For actions, we've got Filled with Doubt, 2/5, 2 mid-block, response, after your rival plays an attack, seal it. So sealing a card means it loses all of its abilities and cannot gain abilities for the rest of the turn. So pretty great way to just turn off an attack. We've got the Dark Tournament Looms, a 1/5 2 mid block, enhance remove, add one card from your momentum to your hand, and draw one card. So if we have like a Walk the Dog or a Tyrant Rave in our momentum, we can pick it up to play it later in our turn, and we get to draw a card. So this is how we can keep looping our higher difficulty moves without having necessarily just to draw them. And our last action is Flirtatious, a 3/4 2 high block. With response, remove this card from the game. After a stun attack deals damage, draw 2 cards. If your opponent's character is a female gender, you may clear 2 cards from your card pool. Once upon a time, characters had genders. They don't anymore, so that likely won't come into play unless you're playing against a very old printed character. But this is just here for response, remove. After my stun attack deals damage, I get to draw 2 cards, which helps with your stringing out. So, pretty neat. We'll go after the cards in the side deck in a minute. So we'll start with our foundations. We have Moment of Normalcy, 2/5 3 high block unique. Enhance commit, return this attack to its printed speed or damage, whichever one we think is going to be easiest to deal with if we want to take less damage or if we want to block the attack. We've got Inspiring Song, a 1/6 3 mid block spell. With Enhance flip, mill 3, choose a player. That player's next check gets +1 or -1. We're stunning our rival to oblivion. We might not need the -1 to their check, so we're using this mainly to boost our checks so we can play our heavier attacks later in the string. To assist with our stun package, we have Don't Do This, a 1/5 2 low block. With Enhance, discard 1 card. This attack gains stun 1. So this is good for giving our attacks stun, even if we can't give them stun with Victor. Like, say, it's our first attack and we didn't Claw of Malephase to put a reduction in. We can still give our attack stun 1 and still give our gain our abilities based on our stun cards. We have Annie's Gamble, a 2/5 3 mid block with response Tenacious, or playable while this foundation is committed. Remove. After you make a check, that check gets +1. So we can commit Annie's Gamble to pass a check, and then we can remove it later in the turn to boost our check to play one of our bigger attacks. We've got Military Police Presence, a 2/5 2 low block with Enhanced Commit. This attack gains stun 1 and gets +1 damage. So again, a way to gain stun, and we can get +1 damage. A little bit of extra oomph. We have Titanic Combat, a 2/5 3 low block. Response commit after you take damage from an unblocked attack. Build the top card of your deck face down committed. We want to play big attacks late, so having a lot of foundations is good for that. And then we have Enhance Your Attack Commit. This attack gets +2 damage and your rival commits 1 foundation. It's not quite a stun, but it does get around cards that would cancel stun or cancel keywords. So you can just say, hey, I'm going to get 2 damage, you're going to commit a foundation. Which is good for Acrobatic Style, a 1/5 3 low block with response Tenacious, flip. After a rival foundation is committed due to your effect, ready this card. Again, this helps us string out long, and we can extend our strings further. We've got a copy of True Identity, a 2/5 3 mid block with a unique. It says First Form, commit. Your checks to play attacks this turn get +1. So all of our checks to play, all of our attacks are going to get boosted. We can increase this with Annie's Gamble, with Battle Arena, and really just make sure that we're not as punished for playing our higher difficulty cards late. It also has a Rando Enhance. Our character is not named Rando, so we don't have to worry about that. We have Incredible Display, a 2/5 3 mid block with response commit, spend 1 momentum. After your rival plays a non-character responsibility, cancel it. This is a really good use of our momentum because all we have attack-wise are Walk the Dog and Unrelenting Advance is powerful. And this is good for a lot of responses in Retro, mainly like Revoke or Out of Your League. Really high-powered cancels that can stop your combos and stuff from going off. And they have response commit after you block with a foundation, add it back to your hand. Pretty good defensive ability there. Another good defensive use for momentum is Broken Psyche, a 2/5 3 low block. Response remove after you take damage from an unblocked attack, add one card with a check value of 6 from your discard pile to your hand, and that is a tenacious response. We're not really here to play that ability. We are here to play the Enhance, flip, spend 1 momentum, change this attack's damage to 2. So we can say, cool, you played this powerful 6 card and dumped a bunch of momentum into it, I'll take 2 damage. It's just a really fun way to really mess with your rival. Next up is Easily Excited, a 0/5 2 high block. Response, once per turn. After an attack is played, it gets +1 speed, and it gains taunt if it did not already have it. We don't really care about the taunt keyword, but +1 speed is nice. It's a spam. It's got 2 high block. It's just an all-around good card. We have Requesting Assistance, a 0/5 2 mid block. With Enhanced Flip, if you have 1 or more momentum, ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase. So this is a cheeky way to re-ready Moment of Normalcy, or cards like Titanic Combat, if we've got 1 momentum, which we can easily get with Reduction, because our rival likely won't want to block 1 damage if they know we're coming in with bigger and badder attacks. We've got Frozen, a 2/5 2 high block with Enhance your turn, sacrifice 1 foundation, your rival commits a foundation. So this is where we get the +2 damage from Claw of Maleface, and anything that commits a foundation with this, with Titanic Combat, or anything that gives additional stun like Military Police Presence and Don't Do This, helps with the Victor damage boost. So you could really make a big attack threatening with a whole bunch of stun. Your rival commits like 6 foundations, and you just give it 6 damage and say you're not blocking this. Pretty good. If we do fail in our sequencing a little bit, though, we do have the Professor Lost, a 2/4 3 high block. We have Response Flip after your stun attack receives a damage bonus, draw 1 card, which is pretty good. And then we have Enhance your attack, commit, rearrange the cards in your card pool. So if we had to play things out of sequence, say we drew more cards, or we got the Unrelenting Advance, we played Reduction, got Unrelenting Advance, and the card we drew was Somnambulous Subdual, or another Unrelenting Advance. We can play whatever card we drew, another 4 diff, and then rearrange our card pool so that Reduction is now immediately behind the new attack, and we can give it stun. We have Earthrealm Mercenary, a 2/6. It has no block, so you can't block with this card. But Enhance your attack, commit, your low attack gets +2 damage. If you have 2 or more momentum, commit 1 of your rival's foundations. Now, the only low attack in this deck is Walk the Dog, but giving 2 damage on Walk the Dog and potentially selectively committing our rival's best piece to then give Walk the Dog more damage with Victor, and then, maybe spend a bunch of momentum, because obviously we'd have at least 2 then, is really good. But we also have Enhance once per turn, spend 1 momentum, your next check to play a card gets +2. Now that's both like to play an attack, or even to play a block. So we can use this defensively to spend our momentum defensively if we're not wanting to lean into the powerful keywords. We have Thundering Assault, a 2/5, also with no block. Response once per turn, after your rival commits a foundation during this attack's Enhance step, your attack gets +X damage, X equals that foundation's difficulty. Now likely, if you're lucky, you'll probably only get like 2 damage off them committing a 2 difficulty move. But if they did have to commit a 3, or heaven forbid a 4 or a 5, based on some of the, bigger foundations that you could find in Retro, this could be a lot of damage. So it's basically just an extra way to deal damage, and it doesn't commit, it's just a once per turn, so that's pretty fine. You have to time it right, but you don't have to commit for it. So then after you use it, you can just commit the foundation to pass checks, and you don't have to worry about it. And lastly, we have Look the Devil in the Eye, a 2/4, also with no block. Enhance, sacrifice, your next check to play an attack gets +2, and that's playable while this card is committed, a tenacious ability, which again could trigger Claw of Maleface, but also it could really boost the check to play our next attack, Tyrant Rave especially, or a Walk the Dog. But these aren't the only attacks you can play. I did choose these attacks very specifically because of how I wanted to run the deck, but if you wanted to run a few more, like, interesting cards. Because Tyrant Rave can get huge, and it gets huge based on playing out your strings. That's kind of what I wanted to focus on. But a different 7 diff would be Intimidating Command. This is more for an all-out, like, I'm just gonna thump one big attack at you. It's a 7/3, 7 low for 7 with a 2 low block and Fury. As a Blitz, commit all foundations with a difficulty of 2. That's in all stages. So yours and your rivals. So you will lose your Thundering Assaults, your Earthrealm Mercenaries, your Professor Losts. However, if you have some zeros, like the Easily Excited and Requesting Assistance, those stay up. Your ones, like Inspiring Song and Don't Do This, stay up. But you also have some twos with tenacious abilities like Annie's Gamble and Look the Devil in the Eye. So it's not. You do have a lot of twos. I'm not gonna lie. So you'd probably want to build your foundation base different if you were playing Intimidating Command. But if your rival's mostly 2 diffs, and you played like a reduction and then an Intimidating Command, so this can get 2/2 and stun 2, and you commit all of your rival's 2 diffs, and then say, hey, stun 2, you've committed like 8 or 9 foundations, so this is a 9 low 9, and I'm going to give it 9 damage with Victor. 9 low 16. This could practically chop almost any character in half. So you could do an Intimidating Command where you're treating Victor as much more of a bomb character instead of a string character, which could be really useful and really interesting. Like I said, you'd want more tenacious 2 diffs, or lean more into a 1s and 0s package, or even 3 diffs. 3 diff foundations could also get around this, and sometimes those have much more powerful abilities. Or if you want to play a little riskier on the check side of things, you can play Ice Dragon Seiryu, a 5/2, 4 high for 5 with a 1 high block. It's got punch, ranged, and stun 3. As an enhance, you can spend 1 momentum. Your next check gets +1 for each of your rival's committed foundations, which if you did, say, reduction into Ice Dragon Seiryu, spend that momentum into a Tyrant Rave, could be pretty big. And then we also have Enhance, freeze all foundations committed due to this attack's stun ability. So this one, I believe, if I'm correct in the ruling, it would only really work for one instance of stun, because it doesn't say stun abilities. So I believe you would only be able to freeze 3 foundations base, unless you had ways to increase your stun rating, and that would be a much better version for that type of a Victor, where instead of just giving more stun, like with Military Police Presence or Don't Do This, you had cards that were increasing the stun rating, like retro. Like Armor Titan Crash would be kind of cool, or stun rating. Unlikely Romance, enhance flip. This attack is +1 or -1 to its stun rating. Gets +6 or -6 speed. X equals the stun rating. Oh, I should probably attack this for the symbols we would need. There we go. Night Old Eris. Reduce an attack stun rating to 2/0 and it gets +2. Commit your attack gets X damage, X equals its stun rating, so you could do that for a bit of bonus damage. But something that would focus on boosting your rival's stun rating or even keyword ratings. Yeah, it gets +1 to one of its keyword ratings with feigned interest, so you could focus more on that and do like a full stun board, like by increasing your ratings to make one attack a bomb and then clear the way for the rest of your attacks. And then, like I said, with your Intimidating Command, you could run different foundation difficulties, like the 3s, which you have like Godzilla versus Space Godzilla to boost your checks by 2. Let's see what other cool. You could get more damage with I'm Awesome. If your attack deals damage, your next attack gets 4 damage. That's pretty good with Major Victor. Stun rating, that's if you're boosting your checks. But anyway, you guys see what I'm talking about, how you can just boost, play higher foundation higher foundation difficulties, or more zeros and ones, so that you're not really hurting yourself as much with the intimidating command. But those are 2 other attacks that you could kind of use more as build-arounds, or just shifting the focus of your Victor. This one that I built is much more aligned in... My mouse is going crazy, sorry. Much more, like, straightforward in a... Here's how you want to sequence things. You want a reduction, you want a 4 diff, and then a 5 or higher diff. You know, cap it off with a Walk the Dog or a Tyrant Rave. Kind of showing you more the sequencing. And then you could branch out to things like Military Command, Ice Dragon Seiryu. I would still say that that being on the Chaos symbol as your main, just so you could get reduction, is still your... Oh, you guys can't see my mouse going crazy. My mouse is going nuts for some reason. Something's happening with my mouse sensitivity. But, yeah, just for having reduction for bonus stats and being a 3 diff, that's just all around pretty solid. So you'd want to stay on the Chaos symbol, in my opinion, but then you could pivot into, you know, Intimidating Command or Ice Dragon Seiryu's type of freeze and hold your rival down, because you could play a more freeze package with Ice Dragon Seiryu, and you could still play Walk the Dog at the end of it. If you're playing Intimidating Command, I wouldn't play Tyrant Rave. And if you're playing 7 diff attacks, I don't know if I would run the Seiryu, just because you don't want to check a 7 on like or check a 2 on like a 9. Unless you're playing heavy check manipulation. I sprinkled some in here with some other cards, but unless you're playing like this heavy check manipulation, you're probably not wanting to run the 8s and 9 difficulty moves with a 2 diff. But that is Victor, the Darkstalker Frankenstein character. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it. Thank you. I know I said your name at the beginning of the video, but I cannot remember your name at the moment, and my phone is dying. But thank you to the viewer who submitted Victor as a character to build. I had a lot of fun revisiting this guy. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out a lot and shows me that you guys are enjoying the content. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.